Resurrection Fest TV.
Aquí me encuentro con los legendarios, the legendary Napalm Death.
No.
Yes, you are.
No.
No? You? Why?
No, it's well. Some people say that it's very nice, but it doesn't.
You don't feel that way.
No. It's too much to live up to, man. Yeah.
I know, but you've been on the top for almost 4 decades. That's quite a lot, and you're still there. What's the secret for that?
No, I mean, you know what? Here's the thing. I think the longevity of the band is because you don't think about things like that. What we think about is to make the next album or the next gig as good as it can be. We don't live up to a status like that because it's impossible. You can't. You just have to keep doing the best that you can. And that's what you live and die by, basically. So it's nice that people say those things, but
you don't feel that way.
No, never felt that way.
Really?
That would be very arrogant. It's not the way that. Yeah.
It's reality.
No, not really. No.
Yeah, I like you more now.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so latest album. I think, oh my God, it's difficult for me. Apex Predator, Easy Meat.
Apex Predator, Easy
Epic.
Meat.
Yeah. You know what got my attention at that album? The cover.
Yeah, the cover, yeah.
Because it's so different from the latest covers you had, the rest of the albums. It's just a photo of meat, like supermarket meat.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, we've been trying to achieve something like that for a while. Because we're big fans of some of the very early mid-80s alternative, like kind of post-pop bands, noise bands who use very brutal imagery, very stark imagery. It's a single image, It's difficult to achieve because you try a lot of things and it's like, well, it doesn't really work, But that was perfect as soon as I saw it. And well, obviously, the meat isn't just meant to portray a tray of meat. It has a symbolism beyond that. But yeah, I mean, as soon as I saw it, I was just like, that's the cover.
What idea was yours?
Huh?
Your idea was?
I can't. Well, I had a slightly different idea, but then Shane, the bass player, me and him usually work on the art together. He said, well, look at this. I was like, shit, that's it. Straight away, I knew that was going to be the cover,
It's a very strong image, huh? When you sit there on the, record shop and you whoa.
It fits in with the, it completely links in with the subject matter, because it's not meant to be a tray of meat. It's meant to symbolise, well, easy meat can be something that's thrown away, so because the album title, to make it short, is about exploitative labour, basically. That's the general thing about the album. So when you say people are easy meat, it's like they're easily disposed of, So that was the general thing with the symbolism of that,
I'll ask you something personal. Why they call you Barney? Because that's not your name.
Yeah, it's an old nickname. It was actually given to me by the drummer of an old UK punk band called Doom. People are quite aware of Doom, I think. It was the drummer, a really old friend of mine, that gave me that nickname because, well, Barney Rubble from the Flintstones. Well, when I used to drink a little bit, I used to break things, but unintentionally. So, like, in other words, make things into rubble, and that's where it comes from.
I knew there was something funny behind
there is something, yeah. Most people wouldn't care, but, that's what the...
I read a lot of interviews from you, from the band, but mostly from you, and you have, you always talk about your dad, your father, very often on the interviews. So I was wondering, how was your childhood?
Yeah, I mean, it was... I don't know how to describe it, really. It was just regular time. Sometimes it was easy, sometimes not so easy. I guess average. Yeah, I mean, like a lot of people in Birmingham, in other similar places, it was tricky when we were young. Parents didn't have very much, but we got through, and my dad was. The reason I always talk about my dad is because when you talk about music, well, my dad really started me off with music because he was a fan of like rock music and stuff, and then also on the side of what I feel about things, my dad was a union sindicato, like a rep, so that also influenced me in a certain way, to.
So we can say that you're on this because of your dad somehow.
Obviously, I had to make certain steps myself. There was certain things that fell into place. Like, I met the Napalm guys. I used to hang around with them. I used to go out on the road with them, actually. Okay. And then I had a band, but it wasn't very serious. And then, so they knew what I could do. And then when the two guys left from the previous Napalm Death lineup, then they kind of thought of me first, I guess, because they knew me, they knew what I could do. So everything kind of fell into place, It
was like meant to be.
Well, I don't believe in fate or anything like that, but these things just happened to. I was in the right place at the right time. Let's just put it that way.
Love it. Okay. Your lyrics are always really, about the politics situation, and I know that you have a really strong opinion about politics. And they're, how you see the world now?
They're both political, but also apolitical as well.
Exactly.
They're both actually. It's not just I have a strong view about politics. It's more simple than that. I have a strong view about human beings, because politics doesn't mean anything unless you consider human beings and the effect that things have on human beings. Politics is meaningless unless that is your focus is on human beings. Mm-hmm. And really, if you were to ask me what is important, politics or human beings every time, because and that's really what Napalm's about. It's about reinforcing humanity, because I think that the world in general, it's
in a bad shape.
Well, it doesn't understand what it is to be a human being, I think. So yeah, it's our general observations on that, and we try and put the ideas on the table, and if it sticks, it sticks. Hopefully,
It's a good message. But how you see now, like the situation that we're living in the European Union, for example, which everything is so messed up.
Here's the thing: there's a lot of focus on a lot of things right now, and there is a lot of major events going on. But if you look back, was it ever really any different? Not really. There's always something or some events to where those that are in power carry their power onwards with them, and those underneath become more and more disconnected, from power.
The gap is getting bigger.
And it's always been that way, So, it's no different. As regards the whole situation with Europe, now, obviously you know about this Brexit, or so it's called, Now, I think it's ridiculous. Here's my reasons why, I didn't always agree with some of the things that the EU did. For example, what they did to Spain, Portugal and Greece, actually, more so. I thought that was terrible, But having said that, the money side of things is not my consideration. What I care about is, again, it's human beings. And I think that when Europe was united as an understanding, as an idea, we managed to keep peace in Europe, When it's disconnected, you have things like the rise of Hitler, Mussolini, Franco in Spain, Salazar in Portugal, you know, and surely that's not something we want, you know. And if Europe fragments, I think we can have some big problems coming down the line, because already in some countries we have some things that actually resemble the period of Hitler in his early days. You know, you have movements in some countries that are waiting for Europe to fracture and fragment so they can take over. Not that, well, they won't take over the world, I don't think, but they will do significant things in Europe, and that's, people should be really careful about what they wish for, you know, because I don't think anybody wants that, you know. So Europe as an idea, in terms of people coming together, fantastic, you know, and I hope it stays that way, you know. I don't give a shit about nationality or anything like that. I really could care less. You know, like I say, I'm a human being.
We're all
first.
humans, yeah.
I'm a human being first. Everything else is secondary. Having said that, I do feel I've had many different experiences in Europe, really great ones over the years, and I feel more European than anything else, you know. And I don't really want to leave that behind in terms of the UK distancing itself from Europe, you know. I think that's depressing, actually. It depresses me, you know. I think that's...
I think you have a lot of material right now with the situation, you know, to write lyrics and write music for your band.
Sure. So, well, I mean, there are actually things above and beyond that are equally as important that also need attention, you know. But we'll see, you know.
Do you think with your messages and your, like, the messages on your lyrics, like, because there's so many bands that are going through the same path as Napalm Death, do you think a band and the music is good enough to change people's mind and make a change in the world?
Well, you have to, because you can't, like, to kind of be defeatist about it and say, oh, I can't do nothing, you know. Well, if you think about it, that's what those in power rely upon, people not being apathetic and not challenging things. So I'm not going to sit here and say to you that Napalm Death is going to, like,
change
everything overnight, but at least we are a drop in the ocean, if nothing else, because there are many different people, many different groups of people doing the same kind of things as we are. So as a whole, that's a big block of things, you know. So we can't stop, you know. We have to carry on, you know. It just has to happen that way, you know. Because otherwise, if every person that was dissatisfied with, you know, the power gap, if every person that was concerned with that decided not to do anything, then you let those who have the power gather even more power without opposition, you know. So you have to
work
if
together.
You're mindful to do it, then you must do it, you know. You must do it.
Yeah, I love the message. I love the message, really.
Well, I mean, the thing is that we are, like I say, we're putting ideas on the table. We're not taking a great big stick and, like, beating people with it and saying, you must think the same as we do. That's not the point, you know. The point is to make people understand that everything is possible. Anything is possible. Everything is possible, you know. So.
Well, let's go to change subject and less serious subject now. Have you seen the video of Jim Carrey on the 80s?
I've seen it 100 times.
You know that it's quite an old video, but it became so viral.
Yeah, only recent times, I think, as far as I know, because nobody.
It's hilarious.
Well, yeah, it is, yeah, but it's Jim Carrey, you know. It's what you'd expect, you know. So, yeah. I mean, yeah.
You ever got in touch with him and said, hey, I'm Napalm Death frontman, and you know what?
No.
I'm gonna do a duet as he required.
No. I mean, to be honest, though, we heard way back when, like 91, we just heard on the grapevine when his movies were big, the pet detective movies. We heard at that time.
Ventura.
I was a big fan of Napalm Death. We were like, really, you know, and we just got okay, you know, fine, you know. So,
Well, maybe you
Make
should.
of that what you will, you know.
You should get in touch with him because I know that he loves to sing as well. So maybe in the video he said that he wants that you should slow down one day and do a duet.
Yeah.
So maybe he will be the one singing with you. And I tell you, that will be like the fans will love it. I think.
But I'm not so sure about that. Yeah.
Okay, Barney, it was a pleasure
All right,
to
no
meet
problem.
you.
Thanks ever so much.
Thank you for
Appreciate it.
coming to Resurrection Fest. And this is Barney from Napalm Death, Shadia, and you're watching Resurrection Fest TV.